I have come to the realization that you can never, ever, ever know what is around the corner. You can never know what is coming next. And even if I think that I'm in a very bad situation, or in a situation where I don't see an endpoint, where I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, I just have to believe that something will come up. And that is something that's very, very difficult to do. And it's something that I'm really trying to understand in my own life, especially, for example, working on my business. Something I just realized, something that a lot of people, I think, and I didn't realize when I was an employee, when I worked for someone else's business, is that things are never sure. You are never sure that something, that a new client comes up, or that something will turn out to be right. You are never ever sure that things will go your way. But on the other hand, looking back on all the situations, positions where I had nothing going for me, or I had nothing in my pipeline, I just didn't know what to do next. Somehow something always comes up. There's always something that comes up. That has always been the case. But I, deep down inside of myself, I know that that is the case, but I still don't feel like it is. I'm not 100% sure that it is. And that's something I'm in between. I know something new will come up, but because I don't know what it is, I feel a bit anxious, and I don't know if it will come up. But looking at all my past experiences, and I think that everybody has multiple examples of this, things that you just didn't expect that happened. And that is also the case looking into the future. Let's say, for example, something out of my own life. I have moved from the Netherlands to Germany, and before I went there, of course, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen. So almost everything in the last 7 months that have happened were things that I didn't know would happen. Basically, literally everything. And that will also be the case for my future. I don't know what will happen in a week. I don't know what will happen in a year. But if you would tell me the exact things or the exact situation that I'm in over 1 year, I will definitely not believe you. I will definitely not believe you. And the same goes for if you would tell me 1 year ago that I would be in a situation where I'm currently at, I wouldn't believe you. So the thing that I'm trying to figure out, and something that I came up with is, or something I came across, was this thing called Taoism, where they believe, or they tell about the fact that everything just has to flow, and nature takes its own course. And that's really something I believe in, something that really fits my beliefs and my expectation, my experiences, is the more, at least I am trying to force things, the more I try to, work 12 hours a day, which are just things that are not possible, and are just things that are not helping me in any way, shape, or form. I much more believe, based on my experience, is that there are just, let's call them cycles, of more energy, less energy. Sometimes things just happen and things just flow out of themselves. Other times it's a little bit more difficult. But in the end, somehow, somewhere, if I just keep going, if I just at least do a certain amount of things, or at least do the fundamentals, I always have experienced that something new comes up. I know for sure that in a week, in a month, something will come up that if you would tell me now, or if I would look back at this video in a couple of weeks, I didn't know that would happen. And that's something that really crosses my mind, something that I think a lot about. And I think that's also the case for a lot of other people. There's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiousness, because we want to control things. We want to plan things exactly we want to things to work out exactly as we want them to turn out. But that is just not the case. And I think that it basically almost goes against human nature, or nature in general. And that's also the point, especially in the West where I live, where we have, of course, jobs. where people have to work 40 hours. You have to be there on Monday till Friday from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, whatever your times is. And I simply just don't believe that that is the way to go. That doesn't work. That works very well. And I understand where it comes from, because it comes from the Industrial Revolution, where people had to work, let's say 8, 9, 10 hours a day on a machine, and didn't have to do that much thinking, or didn't have to be that creative. But comparing it to today's day and age, I think that that's basically causing a lot of stress and causing a lot of anxiousness. Also because a lot of people just do that work out of, let's say, some kind of fear, because they don't want to get fired and they need their money to pay their bills. But also for them, the point here that I'm trying to make is, nobody knows exactly what will happen. A job has some more stability, and that's also something that I've learned working for myself now, something that I didn't see or didn't saw when I was an employee working for someone else's business. Is if you work for somebody, you have to a certain degree, of course, your salary at the end of the month, which hopefully always comes at the same time. But if you have a business, or you work for yourself, or you try to do something, things are never that, you can never expect exactly when new money comes in, or when you have a new client, or when you sell something new. But somehow, based on my experience now doing this for a couple of months, somehow always something new comes up. Somehow a new client, somebody here, get a call there, somebody asks me to do this. Something always comes up, and that is a very, very good lesson for me that I've learned, and I'm trying to learn and understand that I cannot predict things, I cannot control things, and things just flow, things just happen. And I think that it's much better to not be that prepared, not be that structured, and just let things happen, and see and believe and trust yourself or nature that something new always comes up, and things will just work out fine. And you sometimes have to take some rest. I've also tried to work, let's say 12 hours a day, but it's just of no use. It's really just of no use. Maybe you can do that for a couple of days, but it will burn you out, and at some point you get maybe only 10% of the outcomes or the results that you would get in the first 3-4 hours that you've worked. And this all has to do with basic biological or natural cycles that people are in. As of course, we all know that women go through certain cycles, but also you cannot expect, at least I don't think that you can expect from a woman who goes through that cycle to have the same output in the period where they're a little bit more down, or where they have it a little bit harder, to have the same kind of output than in weeks or situations where they don't. And this also is, for example, with athletes or with sport. Looking at footballers, Florian Wirtz, who has been sold for, I don't know, 150 million euros. And people have a lot of expectations of him because he costed that much money. But he also goes to cycles, and he also goes to flows. And especially with soccer or with football or with whatever sport, you have to perform, and they expect performance a lot of the time, basically always. But it is, I think, not in correlation with human nature, with human cycles and energy levels. And I think the point that I'm trying to make, and the thing that I'm trying to learn for myself, is just to not try to have or take or be in control, and just let things happen, and just trust that things work out correctly and work out in your favor. And that is my experience. That is something that's stuck in my mind. That's something I'm trying to figure out. If you have some information, if you have some knowledge, or if you have another perspective, share them in the comments. Let us know. You can also send me a message. And for now, again, thank you very much for listening.